Hello, BookTube. I've got a brief Monday MegaStuff video for you here. This one really will be brief. There won't be much. I would have had a Sunday MegaStuff video, but the whole day was just lost to sneezing and blubbering the whole day. As a result, today I feel like somebody's pummeled me with a bag full of bricks, but at least I'm not sneezing and blubbering. Who knows if that will be true tomorrow. But one way or another, I only have two things really to chat with you today about. The first one being NaNoWriMo. National Novel Writing Month has started. It started on the 1st. And I went in completely unprepared for the first time ever. No plot that I could grab onto seemed to work for me at all. None of them. I instantly rejected everyone that I grabbed onto. Until finally, I started to think, with the help of nudging from quite a few of you, that maybe plot itself was the problem. And so I am coming as close, in 2020, I am coming as close as I can to pantsing during NaNoWriMo. Pantsing, it refers to seat of the pants, where you go in not knowing what you're going to do. As opposed to with an elaborate plot, an elaborate outline, scene-by-scene breakdown. Plenty of people do that, because that is the best way to succeed at NaNoWriMo. It's the best way to get through 50,000 words, is to know what you're doing. So you're not sitting there staring at space making stuff up when you should be writing. And I know that perfectly well, but that did not seem to work for me this year. So this year I am as close to pantsing as I can get. I have a rough idea. And many writers that I have known over the years, long before there was a NaNoWriMo, have said that's all anybody ever has. This business of plotting your way to security is an illusion. So maybe everybody's a pantser. One way or another, I decided I have, for another context, in another area of writing, I just recently wrote a short story, a science fiction short story. First science fiction short story I've written in a long time, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Maybe I primed myself for loving it because I've been reading a lot of science fiction short stories in 2020. But I wrote it and I finished it and put it away, and that's that. I had it for a specific purpose, and it's done, but the itch was still there. And when I was desperately casting around for ideas on the night of the 1st of November, I thought, well, why? At the very least, that's a place to start. At the very least, you could write some science fiction, some more science fiction. And that was the start of it. And I came up with a working title. I'm a big fan of titles, not completely a big fan of this one. It might change. Right now, it's Bear a Burning Staff. And I have images in mind, I have a relatively sketchy plot in mind, and I have a character in mind who has the ability to manipulate quantum irresolution. In the quantum realm, it seems to us like certain variables can only be measured if we're looking at them. In other words, that it seems like certain elements of the quantum universe are determined by humans. Now, that isn't true. That's just what it seems like. But I thought that was enough of a wedge for me to just jump right in there and get someone. So I have a character who can manipulate quantum reality in order to move ships and other stuff from world to world, from system to system. And there's a world, the world in question that they'll be involved here, has something buried on it, something left behind on it that is directly connected to her ability in ways that you would find very interesting if I knew what they were. But I don't. I am pantsing. So I am piecing this thing together as I go along with images and people and names and a few things like that. It's a weird feeling, like free fall. And I don't know if it will work. No idea. So we will see. I have hit my word count for November 1st and November 2nd. That's something. But that's not a lot. That'd be a lot with a lot of other people at NaNoWriMo. But the one thing that I don't have the talent that the rest of you have. I don't have the vision that some of the rest of you have. The one thing I have is the raw discipline. The ability to generate words is not a problem for me. And to generate them to a certain length and on deadline. So the fact that I've hit my word count 2 days in a row doesn't really mean anything. It would take. I hit my word count even though my day was largely lost to blubbering and sneezing. That's just the way of it. It's just you build those muscles up and they're not going anywhere on you unless something catastrophic intervenes. It's not a question so much for me of word count as it is, can I make any sense out of this? And I'm perfectly willing to find that out. So the first part of your MegaStuff video is that I am pantsing, and that it is, as far as I can tell, going well. If you're pantsing a project for NaNoWriMo, I don't know how you'd know if it was going well. I think it's going well. The ideas that I have, the images, the vague snippets of plot are making a little more sense to me every time I play with them. So there's that. And I also want to do it, which I wasn't feeling for any of my other ideas. So there's that. For my NaNoWriMo report is cautiously positive. And then we've got mail. We've got some mail here, and then we'll be done with this MegaStuff video. I've got 4 packages here, no boxes. Let's see what we have here. Okay, the first one is by Alistair Bonnet, and it is called Elsewhere, A Journey into Our Age of Islands. Explorer and geographer Alistair Bonnet takes us on a thought-provoking tour of the world's most fascinating islands, featuring hand-drawn maps, color photos, and stories from his travels. There are millions of islands on our planet. New islands are being built at an unprecedented rate for tourism and territorial ambition. Many are also disappearing, besieged by rising sea levels. The story of our world's islands is one of the great dramas of our time, and it is playing out around the planet. Islands are sprouting or being submerged everywhere, from South China Sea to the Atlantic. And this book is the story of this strange and mesmerizing planetary spectacle. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so this comes out in late November. A book about islands. What was that bit about hand-drawn maps? That sounds intriguing. Yeah, there we go. Hand-drawn map. Very good. Okay, great. We're off to a fine start. Travel writing. Let's see what this next one is. These could all be finished copies. That would be great. Let's see. Make sure this stuff is not around so that it can't get eaten by a little someone. What have we got here? Look at all this documentation that I do not need. Let's see here. Okay, this is by Andre Gregory and Todd London. And it is called This Is Not My Memoir. Okay. For the first time, Gregory shares, he is an iconic theater director, writer, and actor, in case you didn't know. And for the first time, he shares his memories of life lived for art, including stories from the making of My Dinner with Andre, the classic 1981 film devised by Gregory, Wallace Shawn, and director Louis Malle, that depicts one long and beguiling dinner conversation between 2 friends who work in the theater. Taking on the dizzying, wondrous nature of a fantastical fever dream, the book takes the reader from wartime Paris to Golden Age Hollywood. Okay, if the book is anything like My Dinner with Andre, that's going to be a short trip for Steve. And it has blurbs from John Mulaney, Wes Anderson, Jude Law, Julianne Moore. Great. Indefatigable readers, every one of them. Okay. All right. This also comes out in late November. This is not my memoir. All right. Let's move on. Probably there's a My Dinner with Andre fan out there, or maybe more than one. Oh, great. Okay. This is the finished copy of something we've seen already. This is Thomas Maltman's The Land, a novel called The Land. Very pretty thing. Recent college dropout and hobbyist computer game programmer Lucian Svensson has spent the last several months recovering from a terrible auto accident. Under the guise of further recovery and amidst a growing national anxiety around impending Y2K, Lucian opts to become the caretaker of an isolated house in northern Minnesota, where he will spend the winter looking after the elderly house owner's dog and developing a revolutionary computer game. Shortly after moving in, he pursues his true intention, which he has kept secret from his protective family. He wants to find out what really happened to Mara, a missing woman he had been having an affair with, who vanished one night along with money stolen from the bank where they had worked together. Is this plot summary boring, you little one? Hmm? That was an audible yawn from the baby bean. Is she finding The Land boring? Hmm? Is that what's going on? You don't like the made-up stories, do you? You don't. You don't. She wishes everything could be history, and not just history, but German history. What a tough crowd. I don't know. It doesn't sound so bad to me. Let's see here. Lucian's search takes him to Rose of Sharon, a white supremacist church deep in the wilderness, where Maura's husband leads the congregation. Under a false identity, for fear of discovery, Lucian becomes entangled with a cabal of outcasts who wait for the end of the world at a place they call the Land. As he gets closer to the truth behind his lover's disappearance and falls deeper into grief and obsession, he's visited at the house by wolves and a mysterious guest who may not be who she claims, as well as a vast flock of violent ravens out of an apocalyptic vision. Now, I've had the advanced copy of this for a while, and I haven't got to it, and I guess I really should, because the date has come and gone. It's mid-October is the date on this thing, and I just let that sail by. That's not good. So I will get to that tonight. And then we have the last one. Our little critic has wandered off, so she maybe won't be yawning at this one. Let's see. Oh no! Oh no! It's another David Murphy book. That's the problem with him writing financial reviews on Open Letters, is that all of a sudden. Okay, all right. This is by Frederick Kaufman, and it's called The Money Plot, a history of currency's power to enchant, control, and manipulate, which has such bullet points as 1. All the objects, from strange to outright disturbing, that have been used as currency over the millennia, including shells, human skulls, and the sound of gongs. 2. How America was forced off the gold standard and why it was so easy to do. Number 3. The global value of counterfeit goods and currencies, over $3 trillion. Number 4. How they played head or tails in ancient Rome. Number 5. Why less than 10% of the world's money exists in cash. And so on. In this scintillating, controversial history, journalist and professor Frederick Kaufman delves into the past 65,000 years to demystify the concept of money. With the same ease that Salt, A World History, and Freakonomics condense thousands of years of history into highly informative yet entertaining format, the Money Plot explains how money was created, used, and is constantly being transformed. Okay. Mention of Freakonomics is a little ominous because it's about as dumb a book as you can get. Maybe this author maybe that was just a publicity sheet thing, just the closest thing. This is due in late November and obviously needs to go in the pile of books going out to David Murphy, who a lot of you won't know who I'm talking about because he doesn't make videos anymore. He used to be a booktuber. I got a degree in finance, going for another degree in finance, and wrote a number of reviews for the literary journal where I am an editor, Open Letters Review, on these books. I don't know if he does that anymore either, but he's still getting them in the mail from me. That's for sure, because why would I keep this? This is clearly his wheelhouse, not mine. So there you go. Those are the books. We have The Money Plot, a finished copy of The Land from mid-October. This is not my memoir by one of the perpetrators of my dinner with Andre. And Elsewhere, a little whimsical history of islands, artificial and natural, present and vanishing. So there you go. That's the mail for today, and my NaNoWriMo updates. So that's your MegaStuff video, and a little glimpse of the bean. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.